Movember is not as good as it's cracked up to be. um, just recently I finished a book on Michael Collins. I went into the library, I picked up the first thing with Michael Collins on it, and I took it home. I didn't realise what I was bringing home. I was hoping to get a biography. Instead, what I got were his diaries. Um, be that as it may, it was a very interesting read because, as it turns out, Michael Collins was very, very busy in terms of being part of various committees for the likes of the National Volunteer Fund, the NVAAF, the Irish Republican Brotherhood, the GAA, and of course the very first Dáil. He was very instrumental in getting that all up and running. So in order to keep a track of his affairs, he used to keep a diary or a journal on him. And to say they were challenging would be the least of it, because some of it was very, very cryptic. And the reason being, obviously, he was on the run a lot of the time. He couldn't be in possession of names and addresses and activities with a record book like that. So instead, a lot of his entries would have been like meeting with Mr. 12 at the usual place at 8 o'clock. So it was quite challenging for the historians to piece it all together and try to figure out where was he at the time and who was he talking to. Other things that I learned from the book was that they were just brief, very brief notes. He didn't keep very brief notes, but it did bring about the side of him that you wouldn't see in the films. He was a very astute fella. He kept very good records of everything that was going on in terms of the actual running of the organisations. Prior to the first Irish MEPs to give up their seats in the British Parliament and setting up in Dublin, the entire country was run voluntarily. You had the Irish had their own postal system, their own laws, they collected taxes. All that was run voluntarily. And in order to do that, they had to have very good functioning committees. And it's very interesting to see that even today, it's great to see that even today, there's a very strong voluntary movement here in Ireland. There's committees covering everything from the GAA, the Scouts, Foróige, and water schemes, private or public water schemes. There's a whole scatter of different committees out there, and it's important to figure out how a committee works. Like, you need to have form if you want to be able to progress in any sort of organization. So as a secretary, Michael Collins was the secretary. His job was basically to keep names and contacts and keep in contact with those contacts in terms of the activities and getting things done. What more can I say about it? There's lots of opportunities out there to get involved with committees, and it's very well worth doing. If you do something on your own, you can only get so far, but when you learn how to work with a committee, you get so much more. That's all I have to say tonight. Take care.